Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to show you how to do in server streaming video, and we are going to make a user authentication register and login. About this tutorial, and someone can be feeling about very bored because you may learn about my channel or the channel about and either about register and login and authorization token, and you may learn it. But someone new to learn this, share your tutorial about streaming video. So in this tutorial I must to do about register and login. So I'm sorry if you feeling bored. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to turn on my terminal and remember about my GitHub profile, and I'm going to check out my latest project about GitHub and my username Tapian. Let's read partially. We got about video streaming service. So let's clone it. cd tutorial git clone to stream. Alright, you may hear about some sound. If that is my son, he not going to sleep that, and my wife, alright, let him go to sleep, but he don't want to sleep. Okay. 98%, so let's wait a couple seconds. Okay, it's done. So let's change directory to stream. Right, remember so the first thing we need to open in our WebStorm project, and WebStorm current project stream. Right, I'm going to make some change in my preference, change to languages. Alright, languages and frameworks to JavaScript, and let's change to React, because in our project we got a front end in React and using ES6, so we need to change the language to JavaScript support ES6. So we got 3 folders. The first thing is the API. API is REST service using Nodejs. And REST verify exactly the application we will deploy it into REST verify to take a camera video and streaming to our server. Right, we got the web. This is exactly the front-end app. We allow user and with easy UI to turn on camera or turn off camera for streaming camera video. Right, so in this tutorial I'm going to make a two function. The first thing is a register to our backend, and second function is login with their account, and we get exactly token in secrets key. Right, so change to cd API and run npm install to install all dependency manual. Right now you don't see any node malware, right? And we need to run npm install to install all dependency malware. Okay, so all the malware already installed. So to start the API, so just type npm start to start the React front. To start the Node.js backend REST service. Remember our REST service is listed on port 3001. And the next one, I will go to web and run npm is open new tab on my terminal and change to web app and run npm install. We need to install all the packages right required in dependency malware. Right, it's done. And now I'm going to start the React frontend app by npm start. So default frontend app will be run on port 3000. And you did remember about latest video and we done about the router for watches. And for example, and like my channel, and this can be a video ID later. So for example, my Tapian. So again, watches Tapian. And here we got a video playing, streaming from our camera. So right now you don't see any video because streaming process is not started. So get back to our tutorial, and this video we only going to do about user register and authorization. So alright, the first thing I will need to install in the backend, get back a backend, cd to and parent folder to API. And we need to install copper malware by run npm install and save load that. And next one is immutable for cache management. Immutable. Right. And alright, MongoDB. So we need to install 3 malware for our backend responsibility. So right, if you already watched about my other tutorial in MongoDB Connect, in the 3.0 version it's different change, and I will show you what about different. So we got API set up with 3 malware. So go back to API folder. Alright, we got the router. I'm going to make a new API method. So the first thing I will copy the description of API right here and pattern here. This API will be created user. Right, so API user. And this also uses port method. Create new user. So wow, the API should be app.port method which URL equal API user. with 3 parameters by default. And should be first thing is a request. Next thing is your response, and finally is next. And I am going to use your ES6 arrow function. If you don't want to use this, it may be a function like this. Function with 3 parameters and open brackets right here. But right, for Node.js 9 version, you can use the ES6 function, very arrow function. Right, first parameter request. Next parameter is the response, and finally is next. And with arrow function right here. Right, first thing need to return exactly what user sending to our backend. So return red.json request.body. Right, so let's open our postman and we can tag a request to our backend server. Alright, just use support method. HTTP our server localhost and port E3001 and API user. So let's send something right here. I'm going to send a raw JSON format. Alright, let's try to name by my name. And for email, alright, let's send it. And we return in response exactly. Alright, user. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Send it, we return exactly our format which the user sending to our server. So if you want to change it by alright, so change it to you send request.body, and let's submit again. You should see you send. Okay, so that is a very simple and how we verify our API responsive is working. The next thing I'm going to make a connection to our recipe to MongoDB. So I'm going to create a new file db.js. And db.js, I'm going to make a new function equal a pod dot connect equal a new function with no parameter. And default, I will use a callback method. It's cb this callback. And we need to import this. Import Mongo client from MongoDB. Right, and here let me show you a difference of the MongoDB 3.0 and 2.0. And the difference in the Mongo, alright, if the MongoDB version 2, you can do this Mongo client.connect exactly URL. So URL, I'm going to make a new config file, and here let's do this export dot mongo client MongoDB equal MongoDB and // and localhost is and port 27.0.2017. That is the MongoDB, and the 2.0 library. It's a program MongoDB, so we can include database stream, and we can do MongoDB connect. So we need to, right, I made a method by cost equal require, and in this case I'm going to cost MongoDB URL from sorry, I always to make a mistake with ESC. So from dot config. So we got some MongoDB URL. MongoDB URL. Let's copy that and make sure I am not making a mistake. And we got comma right. So in the version 2, we said only this. MongoDB to connect to URL, MongoDB URL, and we call back with 3 version to read 2 parameter error or DB. And in this case, in the index file, we can do by connect to MongoDB. So we need to import the connect. So cost connect from require DB. We don't need to include extensions yet. So in this case, we got connect with callback function to parameter arrow and DB. So we can set it up DB equal DB. If we check if arrow, we send to the user and we show user to throw arrow, and that means connect is not successfully. So that is how in the version 2.0 work in the MongoDB. So the difference in Mongo 3.0, so that is we have to change it to client, and Mongo 3 version is different like this. We have to define new Ep4 Mongo DB name equal, let name MongoDB database name equals stream, and this means DB name will be copied. I will copy that in our DB. Hey, Tôm, cô đứng qua bà bệnh việc nha. Đi qua đi nha. That's my son. He didn't sleep that, so he want to me play with him. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. So we got the config DB name. Let's copy that, and right here we got the DB name. So in the MongoDB 3 version, we need to do like this. Alright, we can do by DB arrow throw arrow and otherwise. Alright, so I recommend like this: return callback with arrow and client, and index file. Index file we are not going to user the Mongo name right here and user in directly in the file. So we need to import DB name from require DB. Config. And when we got should be a client, and if arrow we send to user that connection is not successfully, and in this case app DB equal client.db name, DB name. That is the how Mongo 3.0 version and it's very different. Right. Okay, so let's see in our backend service. Here I failed to connect to server because we didn't start a MongoDB. So first thing I'm going to MongoDB and that means we start MongoD and we are going to start it and MongoDB database already start. Now I will stop the server and start again. No more warning or error message show up. That means we successfully connect to server. Right, that is how we do connect our Node.js to Mongo database. Right, cool. And in API backend REST service, I'm going to create a new folder in the model. And in model, I'm going to create index file. Alright, class model. Class model we have constructor is exactly app. And this app equal app. And in the case, in model, I'm going to create a new file is a user model .js. And user model, and I'm going to class user with constructor exactly application. Alright, so let's keep that, and we do what is this .app equal app. I close it up. And in the model, let's get back to our model file, index file. And we do like this alright, so this.app equal app, right? We did that. And this.user equal new user. User with default equal app parameter. So how do we include new user class right here? So let's open the user.js. We have two module, a part equal user. So let's close user.js. So now we import card user equal require. That is the index file and user is same directory. So user, and we don't need to include extension.js file. So that means now we go ahead to user initialize new user with default in parameter is the app. Cool. That's cool. This user equal new user app. So we do have to add module part equal model. So let's close this and get back to our index file. After we connect to MongoDB, then let's set up model. Then we do by app.model equal new model, which default is the app parameter. So let's do this because in the index file we export default equal model. So let's copy that. And in the file we have to import this by give a little bit space right here, and we do cars model equal require. Alright, index file, right, model folder and index. We can do like this, but in Node.js you don't need to include index file. A default is your folder and it will be scanned index file. Let's do that, and we got some model, and right here we got the model in this setup model. That's cool. So I am going to do in the backend, in the front end service, we'll send you with a parameter like this: name, email, and passwords. with two parameters with 1, 2, 3, and 4. That we can send and give back out. This is a demonstration about we can get exactly the user data sent to server and get back. So how do we save this information in our MongoDB? Right, let's do this. I am going to create a new method in user model class. So create a user. So default it should be an object. And next parameter is a callback. Callback, let's give it an empty callback function. Okay, so let's clear all file and we need to work within user class. So let's see in our index file we set after successfully we connect to DB and we set the app.db equal client DB name. So in that means we can do by cars db equal this.app. We set initialize a function class user .db. Or exactly we can change card collection to be.db.collection user like that. So when we create a new user from the parameter, so I will need to modify cars less object to be saved to our database should be like this. It should be a class. Alright, for example, name should be I'm going to use a loadout function by card underscore from equal require loadout. Right. So in this case, I'm going to make a new function to string and I'm going to use a loadout function again to get user by default name and default give an empty string. And next parameter I'm going to use a loadout to lower with user loadout function get user and email and default give it empty string. So password and exactly get user password. So alright, we do need validate this object, this user object before saving to our MongoDB. How do we do that? So I am going to make a new function before save with the user object and callback, and default should be a empty function. So this means this case we do by this. Let's do it after our command line. So this dot before save object and with the callback to be to parameter error and exactly recommend user. So how do we do that? And let's do this by the first thing we need to do, and for example create this new date. Right, so let's do this by if in before save I return it, call back, and no, it does mean no arrow. So simply I want to make it clearly by less error equal no. We call back a function error, call back error, and exactly user right here. That means we got this. If error, we return callback error and node. And otherwise, let's save the user to RDB. So collection, remember our this app.db.collection user and do by collection dot insert one. So insert one is exactly the user object we got after we do this user, and the next parameter with arrow and info. If arrow, we do return callback arrow and null, and otherwise we return callback with no arrow match, no arrow with, and we return a user. So that is how we save our database. And we got create methods, create method user in our database. So after user, we can save this and we can check and click later. So I will show you how to click a user in the next couple minutes. First thing we need to in router. Let's clear this and we do this app.model.user. So why I call app.model.user? Because let's get back to our index file. You see this app.model equal new model with app parameter in our index file. In the model, we got this g.user equal new user with app parameter. That means I can call in router app.model.user.create with user object from let's cross body equal request.body, and request.body exactly the object from user, the data from user sent to our backend RESTful service. So the first parameter in user class should be user is body, and next parameter with callback with arrow and result. So we can check it if error, and we can do return red.json. Alright, let's start. For example, error code should be 500 and return with method like this, error and object with method with an error saving your account like that. And otherwise we will do return red.json should be a result. That is how we create user. Right, so I'm going to make this better. So let's do this in the top of our router. So I'm going to make a new function like called error handle equal two parameter, three parameter. So the first thing is response and method, error method, and the code default we set it to 500, and using arrow function we do by return res.start code and json error and the method should be arrow method. That is how we do, and we don't do this and more many times. Just make this a function because I believe we use this every time. And the next function do, let's command this error handler in callback in response. And another thing is called response handler equal first parameter should be response and next parameter is the data, and the cost default 200 is success HTTP code. Alright. Tôm đi ra ngoài, ba có việc, ba bận việc. Alright, my son is looking for me to play with him, and he didn't delete that. I'm trying to that. Okay, so we got the response handler, and in this case we return this, return and rest.json. Alright, cost default is 200 successfully code.json and data. So now we make some comment right here. Success set response handle. Right, like that. So right in this case we got this, and I am going to make this in one line of code. So with the return, first parameter is return this, and if error, let's do error handle. So we return the message equal an error. Creating your account, and next parameter code. For example, and like this, bad request. And otherwise we return response handler. First is response, and data will be result. And default is 200, and we don't need into default. That is how we do implement one line of code in our API. So let's see this. Now I am going to send with my name, email, password again. So now you see what we do. Get back with the ID, and that means our information, user information, already saved into our database. Let's open a MongoDB client for Robo3T. You can insert Robo3T in your system and check it. Let's stream, and we got collection user. And for now, let's do and see it. And you see my name, email, and password. It created this time when saving account. And one again, send it again, and again. 3 times we send it, and you should see, alright, my name, email, and got 4 item, 4 object, and that's mean. And I hope you can find a problem. The problem is user sending the email format is not correctly with a spacing space at the top. And once again, do you see any duplicate email address? Right? We don't care about the name duplicate because someone can still have the same name, but email should be not same. So that is why I am going to implement in our user. Before we save that, we need to implement with a check in our database and make sure email is unified. Okay, so let's do that. First thing, I'm going to delete all documents. So what we do right here, so first thing, email to lower, and should be stream. stream, that means we don't allow empty space. So for example, I send an email with format with spacing at the beginning stage. Again, send it. And now you should see in our backend, email address will be automatically trim spacing. Now you don't see any space in our email address. That is how we use a loadout function with trim. Okay, so before save, I am going to make a new like this. Cause validation should be an object. So we got the name. The name should be required, and the name, the validation like this should be an object. Arrow methods equal name is required, and the function should do validate and do validate. It should be a function. The function will be returned. Default will return true. That means the name equal validate. And so now I'm going to make a function like this, but if name dot length, if name return true, like that, and default we return 4. And the next parameter, next field, I will revalidate email. So email like this, it should be an error message. Email is not valid. This is a message we do call back. Right, I'm not going to include dot right here. And we got to do validate equal function. So default return 4, and that means the email is not valid. So in validate email address, so I can't remember a regex string. So email regex. Recommend follow it email regex.com and copy. We are going to use a JavaScript. Let's copy that. Copy this. And so cost email regex equal that. So return this if email regex.tag. Right, so we need to make sure tag with email address. So email, how do we get email? Cost email equal, using loadout function, we get the user object, and field equal email, and default give is empty string, and email regex and tag email. This case, email, and return true. Otherwise we return 4. And we can do in one line of code just return it. Return email regex.tag email. That is how we do, and we don't need it anymore. Right, so we got email and name and password, and the next parameter is the password. We need to validate password. Error methods. Alright, password should is required and more than 3 characters. And do validate equal function. Alright, return default we return 4. That means we are not allowed password such as path. Let's check a password. How we check? And I am forgot his name and name at length. So we do like cost name equals loadout function get user name default and give it empty string. In this case, if cost password loadout function get user and password default give empty string. If password and password dot length is less than to 3, less than or equal 3, we accept a string with more than or equal 3 string and we return 2. Alright, by default we return 4. So that is how we do validation, name validation. So before save, we got a user object, and here I'm going to loop everything. Right, I'm going to uncomment it. As validation. So cost, I am going to do this. Let's arrow equal no. Alright, I recommend I make an array and an array. So we cost is the value equal validation dot do validate. If so the value we loop through function default would be the key field name. So and validation default is a field. If is a validate, if not is a validate. And we do add an arrow dot push a new method. The new method cost arrow method equal validation dot method arrow method. And here we can do by put an arrow method right here, arrow method. Right, got arrow method. If not in the validate, that means the user send unvalidated string, for example, email is not valid, and we put a new arrow to be adding a new string method. And finally, we check this. If arrow dot length, that means arrow is not empty. So we return callback. Callback is CB with arrow cost arrow equal. And here we going to join all the arrow method into a method. So we can do like this by join load that function join an array equal arrow, and we implement with space and comma like that, and we call back with arrow methods arrow and default. So default is user like that, and all the while. And if not arrow, that means let file in our database and make sure this email address is not exist. So how do we do that? Alright, let's cast collection equals this up. Alright, and the top up before save and the cast collection. And here I am going to do collection dot file1 or file1 file1 is recommended, so a file1 with query should be an object with email is an object equal email. So how do we get email? So cast email equal July dot flow dot function with user object email. So we got a file1 with query equal file email and exactly email. So and right, a recommend should be error result. So I am going to do this to log this to console log finding email in DB with result equal error and result. Right, so if error, I'm going to make a new function gcam console log validation finally a and error array, not error. Right, so I am going to submit it again. Now we will see what happened. Do validation, do validation not function. Alright, that's it. Alright, so we got the do validation do validate is not function. So let's debug it. And where we call do validate is not function. It should be a loop function, I believe, in loop function. Right, loop validation and fill validation right here. We got a fill and value. Validation do validate. And we got name, email, and password. Do validate. So right, I am going to console make a debug right here. Console.log debug with a fill and validation, and we see what happened right here. Can submit it and check out in our console. Let's see what happened. Debug with aromatic name is required. Do validation. Right, so debug it should be. So right, we don't have a field right here. So each of the function is a value and key. The field should be right here. And again, I am going to submit again. Now we should see and the debug a password and aromatic right. So work is work. Now let's uncomment this and we do validation. For now, I am going to make a alright, so let's do we console log. And right here we do return callback and error and result. And let's see what we have. We got file email in DB with result null and object. So that means in our database we got an email exists with my email address and user trying to send with same email address. So let's see in our console, we got the file email in DB with results new and user object. So that means we do this. Let's remove this. If error or results, that means user exists or some error. So we return callback with error to be message, and message should be email already exists. Try exists. Please try another one. Other email. So that is an example. We return the user with the method, and otherwise we return callback, no, and user. And user is exactly the default we passed from before save that. So in this case, we got this before saver if error. If error, we return callback this, and otherwise we start sorting. Let's see. Now you should see a method, an error created account. So problem A, we return a user with a default method, an error. For what happened right here, I'm going to return an error method. Let's again try to send it. Now you should see an email already exists. Please try another one. That is how we do validate an email. So let's change an email to test Gmail. And the my name should be an empty. So now I believe we should get a message with name equal required. Right, exactly, because the name is not provided by user for name on, and the password is 1 2, and I believe the password should be required and more than or equal 3 characters. Let's send it the password. So we got it. So that means our function is verified and working. And now refresh our database and no more user inserted into our database. That worked. So cool. And try this, and my name and 1 2 3 and 4. Now I believe our user should be able to insert it into our database. Let's send it. Now we got callback with ID and refresh our database. You should get an object of user. Right, you got name, email, and password. Okay, so the next problem is user password. We don't save a user password as plain text. That is not security. So how do we do that? To encrypt a new user password and do compare it later. A new library. We do recommend I do BC script, not BC script. Alright, so you can visit GitHub and install the next malware. We are going to use this malware. The first thing, I am going to install this malware, and we got compare sync and hard sync. So let's do install this library. So open a new tab on my terminal. Make sure you are on API. Because we are working on API that force it, so let's do npm install and save it and BC script. Okay, done. So the next thing in our user, so I am going to include this called bc script. Alright, so now I get back to document. I can't remember the library map bc rip. Card is equal require bc trip. Right, so before save, now we do save a password. Create this password. So we got the user, right? So I am going to do correct search 10. And let's do this bc swap when we do save in our database. So I recommend to encrypt user password. So we got the user object with validation. So in this case, user.password equal bcrypt dot hard synchronous. So hard synchronous, let's think about document. Hard synchronous, where are you? Hard synchronous. The first parameter is the user plain text password, and next is the search. So next, the first parameter equal we do by this current plain user. I will name this. For you can understand this variable, user loadout function get user dot password. Or even you can use this user dot password because password cannot empty. So I'm go ahead user dot password, and let's see an user password will assign the new parameter is password to be hashing. To do this, right, user plain text password with SAS. Right, we start with variable as top at user class. Alright, so now we go ahead to save that with password. Let's try again. Submit now should be an error in email address. And now I'm going to change it to test1. Choose a new email, and now you should see. Now our user password should be different and should be an encrypted password. And see in our database. So that means someone can be on our database and click. They can take a look at user collection, and they see a password like this. And how do they log in? I'm not sure it's more than script, but it should be recommended to user. Okay. So that is how do we encrypt the user password. I'm going to delete all three documents. Right, so that is how we do create new user in our router. I am going to do this results. So when we have results successfully, so if error is an error is equal null and results. We need to do this. Use loadout function and set a results with password, because we are not going to show user password. So now you see in our API response after user we see the password, but I am not going to send this to user, so I need to hide this. again, let's see, make sure we are import the loadout library. Now again, send this, we should see a message. That one. Alright, okay. So now you don't see any password because you know I just delete all the document database. So in this case, you don't see any password in callback. That's good. And send again. Now you should see an error message because email already. So that is how we do implement and create new user. So right, I'm going to show you how to recache the data. In user, we can do by memorize cache. User equal new all this map. But we have to import this cross all this map equal require immutable without insert. So new all this map insert empty. Default give empty. This is a cache user in cache. So let's do this after we create successfully user and here, and let's do this by cars id equal to string. And here I am going to do this.user equal this.user.set, or I can recommend to make add user to cake with default is id and next parameter equal user. So we do by this user is this user dot set key id user equal to string id, and make sure the id key should be a string. So that means now we can call this set this user to cake, and we can guess later 40. So let's do this dot add user to cake with id and user. Right, cool. That is how we do add user to cake. Now let's do again. We should see a message, and I'm changing that to should work. And refresh our database. We should say to document. Okay, so that is how we implement in backend. Let's close this and get back to our front-end web. I remember we got a front-end. I am going to make a new function in our backend equal register, something like that. So for now, you don't see any message in the register because the register router will not define this. So get back to our web and component app. In the page, I'm going to create a new folder user with two files. The first thing is the login. Next file equal register.js. Let's close that whole thing. So we got two files, and in the register, I'm going to create a new class. I pass default class register user, or even this register extended. Alright, and we extend the component. So we need to import this React component from React. So in here we can go right ahead to extend component, or you can use a React dot component. But remember, we import component right here, so you don't have to put React dot component. So alright, so the first parameter, first method very important is the render. To render, I am going to use a stylus component. So we just need to import stylus from stylus component. For example, I will make a new I card register wrapper equals stylus.div. And nothing. We don't style anything, but for here, let's do return this stylus wrapper, and we got a Ep4 with a method register and a cow. So that is how a component in React. How do we define a new component in React? Right, so let's close it. Let's get back to our app.js. Remember, we define a router right here. So in this case, I'm going to router exact with path whatever you want. I can name the path should be register, and we got component equal register. In WebStorm, very useful thing that if you hit enter right here and you got register automatically imported. So if not, you have to import manually. So for now, it automatically import, and very cool. That means we are go ahead to enter refresh it. We got to register an account, and now you do want to see more method, and here you can do like p tag register component work. So let's see it. Now you should see register component work. That's mean, and if you hit enter router, this should be welcome to our camera app. And here we got a register. Alright, square. Once again, let's copy that into our login. And I want to make a really quick for change the register to login. And we got change register to login. That's my white child. He calling my son go to sleep. Okay. So let's change it to login graphic, and here we got sign in and login component work. But for now, if you change the login, it doesn't work because we not implement this in our app.js. Let's open again app.js. Let's copy that for real quick. So change the path to login. Or even you can name this user login. But for me, I am going to just login. So let's do it by the login. Hit enter, and WebStorm will automatically import login component to our app.js. Very useful feature in WebStorm. For now, let's see this sign in and login component work. That is how we implement a new router in the React application. Okay, so that is the router just working, and we need to do this. For now, I am going to make a new function, a new file is a store, that's it. And next file is a service. So let me introduce about two files we need to do. The store, and we will store all the user information, camera information, all the local caching data. We will store in the store.js. In the job project, I can recommend user redact or mop it. But for me, I would like to show you a bad way or easiest way to measurement a React state. So I will create myself a state measurement. So we call this a store.js. So in this case, I need to create a new class, export default store, and we got constructor default is the app component, g.app equal app, and we got a new function export default class, and the next function is update. In the update, we can do by this.app, this app component, and force update. We call update to update the React application. Alright, so we got store is different, and service, same thing for service. Export default service. Contractor with me store, and store store equal store. Part default class. Okay, done. And here in our store, I would like to initialize service equal new service. And remember, in WebStorm, it's automatically imported. New store equal this. So that means we can do this by in service, we create a new function, for example, get with endpoint API path, and get should be an option, something. So get methods. So in the API HTTP client service, I'm going to use another very cool library, and let's change to our React app, the web, and npm install and save ACS. Really cool HTTP client we need to use in our React application to make a request, post, or get to our backend. So we got ACS already installed. So we did import it. Import ACS from ACS. So in our service, we can do by return this ACS.get. Right, to get exactly the full path with our server backend. So in web app, I am going to create a new file with config.js. So in this case, we do by code default production is a production. So default should be equal for. That means we are working on local development. So right, so code API equal if is a production, return a real domain with HTTP right for example, http mydomain.com, and otherwise development we just return localhost, http localhost. You remember in our REST service is listen on port 3001, so let's copy that. Alright, otherwise, so we got that. Close this file, and here we need to import the config API from, let's see, service file is same in folder with the config. So config. Let's open the config file. We need to export this because we want the user API variable in other file. We need to export it. So we did export it, and now go ahead to use this. Yes, the first thing we need to do API, and second one equal. I'm sorry, should be in this. Alright, I believe we don't need to include slash right here. Should be API path. Because install file we are going to call this, for example, make a new function, create a user account with a default user object. And second value we call back function with 2 parameters, and let give is empty. Right now, create a user account. I'm going to call it g.app user service .port. Alright, we don't have a port, and we let's copy this port API and data and option. Change ACL to port. An API port with data and if option. So option I recommend default it should be no. So that's how we recommend. Okay, so get back to our store. We got service ports, for example. In this case, we do API user, and then call back to parameter users. It should be a permit. Because you called service port, and in service port, it is a permit function. So, and then we do cast an error for the error message callback. Third, for now, I'm going to do log it to console an error, create a new account with error. Right, so after we do, and here we need to return something. Return callback an error with diff user null, result in null. And here, if we successfully create a new account, so return it, callback error equal null, and return should be return.data, and should be exactly what we need. Alright, so that is how we do implement a new service in our store file. So problem is, how do we get a store object in our register? For example, in the case register. Now let's make a new console, so nothing show up. And here in our page user register, in the render file, I'm going to make console log register component with prop. z.prop. So let's see what happened. Now you see which object with the height, and location the match. This is React router parameter. We don't see any store class right here. So how do we pass a new store? And we can call it z.prop.store. Create an account. Right, like that. So we don't see any store. Let me show you how to add a new prop in the React router. Let's get back to our app.js. For example, in this case, register, we don't need this, remove this, and we got the render function. The render equal default should be the router prop and return register component. And here we can pass a router prop, and the next parameters are induced by store equals store. And now we do need store in application. How do we get store? Let's make a new initialize constructor in this prop, and we have to do super prop. It's a require. And so we got this state store equal something new store app this, and you know we got this store automatically import this in our WebStorm. So default we pass the app component to store. Remember this, in store class we got the app, so we have to in pass this is exactly app component into store class. So that means now we can go ahead get store equal z.state. This means if you don't understand this, this cars store go z.state.store like that. It's the same. This is the same thing. But I recommend use this because we may have a more parameter instead. We want to get it in render. So for now, let's pass this store and refresh our component. Now you should see store, and we got service and app, right? Really cool. Okay, we got it. So we got a register. The same thing for, let's copy that and remove its login, and we change it to let's copy with render and replace with component to be now login. And the same thing for what component. Right, and the same for home component. Okay, so that is how we do to add a new prop into React router. For now, you should see a new store right here. Okay, so let's get back to our register component, and here we need to implement a new user form, and where user can enter their information and submit to backend. Close this app.js user login register. Alright, so first thing I am going to copy that and change to form item should be depth, and I will margin bottom. 15 pixel. So that means we got this form item, that we got it, and I form item with gets a marking bottom 15. And the next thing we need to do, cast form equals stylist.form, and here go ahead to wrap everything in a form component. And here finally we close tag form with on submit equal even, or you can call directly to this on submit. So we do have to create a new function in our component constructor, prop super prop, and g dot submit equal dot by this. Alright, with even, we can return our even dot prevent default. So make a new log to the console. Form is submitted. Now like this. And in the form item, I will need a label. So I am going to do is the cast form equal styled dot label. Write something like, but I'm not going to style this yet, and we can style later. And we got form item, we got form label, and here for example name, and we got another one in the form input styled input. Let's copy that. After label we got the form input with types. Type for example is k with type equal take, and we got the name equal name and value equal. So wow, what is the value right here in our constructor? I'm going to do this dot state. User should be 3 field. First parameter default to be empty name string, and the email it should be an empty by default, and password empty by default. So that means in render we go ahead to cast user equal dot state. Right, let's import loadout function underscore from loadout. Let's call from loadout, and here let's do value default by get. Using loadout function, user name default is empty string, your name. So let's see what we have. Now you should see name and input field your name, and typing something here you don't see any show up, because you know we in this input it always take the name from the state until we make state change, and the value on the input will be changed, otherwise it could be saved. So we got on change equal this dot on take field change, and this function we do have to create. and here we got it. Even got field equal even dot targets dot name cost value equal even dot targets dot value. So make this console right here. Slur. Alright, field name, and you just changing value to value. Now let's see. I'm trying to enter my name. Now you should see field name is just changing to TOAN. Alright, that is a field change, but you don't see any my name show up on the input field because you know the value. We always take the field name value from state until we make the state change. Input field will be changed. So we need to modify the state in one field change. So I'm going to use the loadout function to do this. Even you can do this. Let user equal this state. Why I don't want to use card? Because you know we are going to modify user. So let's do it to let, and this means user field equal value. And here we can do is set state user. Okay, so now I believe you should see my name show up. Alright, that is how we can modify state in the React application. Okay, let's copy that to another field. Copy that. Let's change it to email address. And on text field we keep change to email, name to be email, and user gets should be email, and type equal email. Let's see what do we have. Who name email. Okay, let's copy it and change to password. Type field placeholder your password. And the name of the field should be password. And value should be password. And type indicate password. Okay, let's see what do we have. We have a password like this, an email, and name. And finally, we do have a new submit button right here. So the submit button, I am going to copy that from the form action. Form action should be a div, and so we do it by, and form option inside form action. I believe we do have a card from submit button equals selected button. For the submit button, alright, submit button, we got type equal submit, and default create new account. So let's see what do we have. We got this, and now after I click it, we got the form is a submit. So see a try method show up. So I'm going to make and modify that to the form submit. For example, I want to make it should be a background color, not background but border one pixel. So let's see what do we have. I got the border color and give it some padding. Default 5 pixel, top and bottom, and left and right 15 pixel. Let's see what we have. Right, much better. And give it a background. Should be white. And see what do we have. Now it should much better. That is how do we streaming a new button. Let's give the font weight a little bit bigger. 600. Now we see the button is more bigger. Okay, so in the form item, I am going to display flick. And let's see, it's same. And right, I'm going to make a new flick direction to be column. So do you see any difference? Display in column. Let's copy that. Alright, do that. And label, right, font weight to be 600. And let's see what happened. You see the name email much better. Alright, I'm going to form and give a form to be more padding. Top and bottom to be 20 pixel and right and left to be 0. Now you should see much space on the form and register count. I recommend register wrapper. Form I'm going to give it space mark width equal, for example, 300 pixel. Now you should see much better. And here we got the input. I'm going to theme input should be border. Like that. Padding. Top and bottom 5 pixel and left and right 15. Now do you see any difference? We got the inputs now much bigger. If you want to move a register to the center, so I believe we got this register from register wrapper, and we can make a display flick. I'm sorry. And we got it. Display flick. What happened? And unify center. Align item center. So I think we can do this by on the register wrapper display flick and align item to be center. Right, unify content to be center. Justify content to be center and align item. We don't need align item. So let's copy dot define content to sender and reflect this. So we got it. Our form is a sender. So I'm not sure, but I recommend to give it back, and we can modify it later. For now, let's give it register form is left. I'm not forget on the theming task right here. Alright, I want to give it a little bit of method in the top. For example, we got this in our form, and I'm going to do the form methods. And we don't have any method right here. Alright, form methods and methods. For method, let's do this by cross style.p tag. So default give is a border one picture. So let's like that, and padding top and bottom and left and right to be 8 pixel. Alright, let's keep this formatted, and so we can do this by we can get a method. The method should be try, default should be successful, and a default like that, an empty message string. So let's do the because methods. In this case, we can make a check by if methods those methods, and then we return for methods, otherwise return no. Alright, for methods, from success methods, if methods and methods dot try equal success, otherwise return no. So that means we got a match to set method, and here let's copy that. And from error methods try borrow solid. Where do we have an error? Alright, our app.js we believe. Alright, in theme file, we got to change the color. So in the register, in the border solid and border solid, like this, from our methods. Or even you can pass right here with the border danger color, but we have to import the danger color from theme. So right, so let's copy that into our methods. Copy this. Sorry. So right here we got our methods. We got from error methods, and the method if method type equal error. If methods. Something happened. Alright, I will do like this. From if methods dot rsc with, so we do like this, and here we make a function change by if methods equal success, here we return a message successfully, and here is the message.msc, and on the y I return the form our message. Let's see, and on the y no. Right, one line of code. So let's see now we submit this, nothing happened until, right, I'm going to do is on submit this function, and I'm going to call to store with cards. Prop. And here go ahead to call store.create new account. Alright, let's see in our store what do we have. Create user account. Let's copy that. Right, user account, and here we got a user object. State. Create user account, and the next parameter is callback with error successfully, and error or result. Make a console log. Create account with error result. And we will go into debug this. So let's see what happened. I'm going to change my name to one and email 1, 2, 3, and 4. Clear this and going to submit this. Now we got a network error, and this origin blocky because we are querying to a new domain with different port. Outside running on port 3000 and API is running on port 3001, so we need to allow the client to submit it. So in Nodejs, how we do that? So close this and get back to our API. We are going to use chorus malware. Express chorus. So let's follow the document and install this. Change to API. npm install and stay with that course. Warning: the module is saving installing. Alright, I'm going to modify. So alright, I'm going to allow everything. So this case parser, and so upload user car require car. Right, require car dot app dot user car. So the first thing, we need to API and index file, and here we need to import car from equal require car. So alright, got car. Let me trade everything correctly. Car S. Right, look good. So in this case, let's do this by app.server and app.user. Which parameter? A parameter parser on anything. We allow accept anything. So in real production, remember change it to accept any domain you want to allow. For now, let's try again to submit our React. Let's clear the console and submit it. Alright, so what happened right there? We got a pod user and respond. A name is required. An email is not valid. Password is required. That means we are submit to backend with a non-user object. So let's see in our web and component use pay user register, we are submit what user user right here, create user, and the port method with the next parameter should be user. And click in our service.yet. We got first parameter port, and next parameter should be data, and next is the option. For now, let's try again by my name, email, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Submit this. Now you should see a successfully code 200. And we got a response with name, email. And that means a new email address submit. Save and out the database. Again, let's submit it. Now you should see an email already as it. So in that case, so we can implement a new method in our register form. We submit with some arrow, if arrow. If arrow, we got what happened. So if arrow. If arrow, we can do it by this dot set methods with try go and MSC to be, let's see, which are response callback and arrow. So I'm going to use a loadout function. An arrow does method, and default I want to give this with an arrow creating your account. That is default method we want to use. And otherwise we can do what it is as let's copy that, and in this case success, and our method should be your account had been created, something like that. And we now can remove this log. Okay, so again, let's do this. My name, my email address, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's submit this. You should see an arrow create your account. Now let's do the theming suite. And what happens if I change the email address? Because you know, an email already exists. An arrow method. Alright, so let's change this to my name 1, and you should see your account created. That is how we handle a method show up to user. And here in our backend database, we should see this. Alright, okay, so I will stop video right here, and we will do a login in the next part. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.